everybody, and welcome to the 61st instalment of ASMR drawing. I'm not too sure if I made a big deal last time of the fact it was the 60th video, but I'm guessing not, and I'm guessing that I forgot because I wasn't sure what number we were on, and I think I'd remember that. But anyway, welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice holidays and New Year, etc. It's a very busy time of year, and if you might remember, I was really ill when I was recording a video before, not my most recent one, but one before. I basically never stopped being ill from that point. I think I've been more or less ill for about a month over the Christmas period and New Year. I don't know. It just didn't abate. So, yeah, I spent Christmas kind of in that weird moderately ill phase where, like, I'm not ill enough to kind of cancel plans, but I don't feel right, you know. And I did a COVID test. It wasn't COVID. Also, it didn't help that I kind of got very drunk and did stuff like that when I don't usually drink too much anymore. So, you know, it just like hits harder. Anyway, you've probably clicked on this video about the Brooklyn Bridge and now wondering why I'm drawing this. It's basically a little warm-up drawing. I've been trying to do, because obviously the big commission with all the references to the USA is quite an important one. So I like to do a little warm-up drawing so I don't spend the first 20 minutes on that drawing essentially warming up and making rubbish art, or just my hand's a bit shaky, or the way I'm manipulating the pen isn't right. So why not? I thought I'd record it, and I thought it'd be kind of nice because, you know, why not start with a bit of a positive adage, I guess. The world is beautiful. So this is from a comic that I'm creating, kind of alongside, but nothing to do with, just happens to be at the same time, the big commission. It's part because I tend to do kind of autobiographical comics, and this particular one is about me driving home from a pub quiz and seeing an owl. And I can honestly say I don't think I've ever actually seen an owl in the wild. I think this was the first one, and it flew across the road in front of me, and initially I thought, you know, what on earth's that? It kind of looked like a piece of paper swishing across the road. I'll also point out it was pitch black at night and there was no other cars on the road. And then I looked and I thought, oh my gosh, it's an owl. And there he was, perched on a road sign, a lovely little white owl. What about a medium-sized owl? But I just went crazy. I lost my mind in a good way. You know, I was super excited. It was so cool. Would recommend going owl spotting. I don't think I'd ever seen one in the wild before. My aunt and uncle used to have one who lived in a tree around the front of their house, but I never saw that one. And, you know, it just did make me think the world is full of beauty most of the time. Like, what a wonderful thing that happened that I'll probably never forget. And I'm trying to immortalise it in this comic, but obviously it's quite slow going because I'm working on the big commission, trying to get that done. Ideally before April, trying to coincide it with the tax year being up. But yeah, I was kind of feeling sufficiently warmed up by this point, I'd say, but I just kind of got stuck in and carried on because I hadn't worked on it for a while, so I thought, why not? What I will, different to my last video is I'm not recording the audio talking a lot about the bull, the golden bull, mainly about the bull, to be honest, and a few other buildings. But this one I'd recorded the video and now I'm watching it whilst speaking. Mainly because it's, with how big this commission is, also, probably if you're keep up with my videos or you've watched quite a few, I don't know what I'm doing here when it's just shaking. Oh, I know, it's because I was drawing underneath where you can see what I'm drawing. In fact, you know what, I'm going to cut this bit out because it's just a shaky video at this point. So, oh, am I coming back? Okay, I'm slightly back. Maybe I'll just keep talking, I'll see. Oh my god, it's like there's an earthquake. I'll just keep going. I'll just keep talking, there we go. I think I realised at this point. So, well, I can't remember what I was saying, but anyway. This, I don't actually smoke, by the way, but the joke at the start of this comic is that I'm, this kind of cool, gangstery guy, I don't know, driving my car, or just trying to look cool because we'd actually won the pub quiz, so I was kind of feeling on top of the world. But, yeah, then it immediately goes back to me not being a cool person driving the car, which is more accurate to the truth. When we get onto it, I'm going to be reading from the Brooklyn Bridge Wikipedia page, and hopefully learning a thing or two. But yeah, it might be make a bit more sense as I'm, I remember what I was saying now. I'm doing the big commission. I can't really record my voice whilst drawing because I've got it's on a huge drawing board. It's like A0 size, so I can't put my mic in front of me, and I do have the little clip-on mics, but I don't trust them. Too much. Also, I'm kind of concentrating quite hard and moving around when I'm drawing it, so it just doesn't really make sense to try and, potentially jeopardize my drawing for it. Right, assuming it's lined up correctly with the sound. Here we are. So, you'll kind of see the Brooklyn Bridge is there on the right, and I'm kind of about to draw it. And on the left is, obviously it isn't geographically accurate, but on the left is just at the edge of Central Park, and the main buildings you can see there are essentially made up just with references to the New York skyline that I'd seen on Google and photos and Google Maps and whatnot. And the building that's kind of blurring in the top left, that is actually kind of accurate to a building that's on the north side of Central Park, because there's a restaurant there that needed to be included, but I couldn't actually find it on the map, so just kind of included a generic restaurant. So anyway, there, yes, as you can see, there's one of the pillars, the main, I don't know what you call it. There's probably a bridge term. Let's look it up. Diagram labeled diagram of a bridge. Right, so the pier. No, the tower. Okay, that was easy enough. The tower of it, I've actually included a little football pitch on the top. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's kind of behind my hand now, but you can see the goal and the grass, and there's a ball on there too, just for a laugh, really. But obviously I won't draw the bridge. It's never going to be 100% accurate, but I feel it's fairly recognisable to what it's meant to look like. And as basically my style is just super detailed and kind of wacky, so the more detailed the better. Detail over accuracy. Does that make sense? I don't think that makes sense. Anyway. I think the shaking of the camera is because I've got the camera on a big arm, a big, what do you call it, a clasp, camera arm stand situation, and because of how big the board is and how far to the right of the piece of paper this bit of the drawing is with the arm on the left, it's just a balance thing. And obviously when I'm kind of, my hands moving all about drawing, it's just making the damn thing wobble, unfortunately. But I'll look into fix, because before I was able to fix it onto my shelf, but I don't have the shelf above my desk anymore since I've moved, so yeah, I'll figure something out. But apologies if the wobble bothers anybody, So, right, the Brooklyn Bridge. See, I had to look at what river it was over. I didn't know it was over the East River. I always kind of had it in my head that it was more on the west side of Manhattan, but it's kind of on the bottom, right? Anyway, I'm just going to read out from here and go down any rabbit holes as I see fit. So, the Brooklyn Bridge is a hybrid cable-stayed suspension bridge in New York City, spanning the East River between the boroughs of Manhattan and Brooklyn. Opened on May 24th, 1883, the Brooklyn Bridge was the first fixed crossing on the East River of the East River. It was also the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time of its opening. That's cool. Let's see which one's the longest now. I'm guessing. What's the current one? Oh, Çanakkale Bridge in Turkey. Made in 2022. Wow. It's just over 2 kilometers long. Jeez. Wow, the Humber Bridge was, the Humber Bridge held the title for nearly 20 years. Okay. Also the one between Staten Island and Brooklyn, the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. That held it for nearly 20 years too, in the 60s, 70s and 80s. Golden Gate Bridge. A lot of them are in America, to be fair. No, and a load of them in New York too. Oh, West Virginia. Freiburg, Switzerland. Oh, there's one in Wales. The Menai Suspension Bridge. Oh, near Anglesey. Okay, anyway. Okay, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time of its opening, with a main span of 1,595.5 feet, nearly 500 metres, and a deck of 127 feet above mean high water. The span was originally called the New York and Brooklyn Bridge, or the East River Bridge, but was officially renamed the Brooklyn Bridge in 1915. Proposals for a bridge connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn were first made in the early 19th century, which eventually led to the construction of the current span, designed by John A. Roebling, who was German-born civil engineer. He designed and built wire rope suspension bridges. Okay. Blah blah blah. The project's chief engineer, his son, contributed further design work, assisted by the latter's wife, Emily Warren Roebling. It was a family affair. Construction started in 1870 and was overseen by the New York Bridge Company. makes sense, which in turn was controlled by the Tammany Hall political machine. What the hell is that? Okay, I'm going to look at that in a minute. Numerous controversies on the novelty of the design prolonged the project over 13 years. After opening, the Brooklyn Bridge underwent several reconfigurations, having carried horse-drawn vehicles and elevated railway lines until 1950. To alleviate increasing traffic flows, additional bridges and tunnels were built over the East River. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot now. Following gradual deterioration, the Brooklyn Bridge was renovated several times, including in the 50s, 80s and 2010s. The Brooklyn Bridge is the southernmost of 4 vehicular bridges directly connecting Manhattan Island and Long Island, with the Manhattan Bridge, the Williamsburg Bridge and the Queensboro Bridge to the north. Only passenger vehicles and pedestrian and bicycle traffic are permitted. So, all traffic basically. I wasn't even sure that cars were allowed over it. I walked over it once and I don't know why, I only remember being able to walk over it. A major tourist attraction since its opening, the Brooklyn Bridge has become an icon of New York City. Over the years, the bridge has been used as the location of various stunts and performances, as well as several crimes, attacks and vandalism. The Brooklyn Bridge is a designated National Historic Landmark, a New York City landmark, and a National Historic Engineering Landmark. Right, what on earth is the Tammany Hall, people? Tammany Hall, also known as the Society of St. Tammany and the Sons of St. Tammany, or the Columbian Order, it doesn't exist now, an American political organization founded in 1786 and incorporated on May 12, 1789 as the Tammany Society. It became the main local political machine of the Democratic Party and played a major role in controlling New York City and New York State politics. It helped immigrants, most notably the Irish, rise in American politics from the 1850s to the 60s. Okay. So, interesting. This is a real rabbit hole. I feel like I'm going to have to watch a YouTube video about this at some point. The Brooklyn Bridge is an early example of a steel wire suspension bridge. It uses a hybrid cable-stayed suspension bridge design with both vertical and diagonal suspender cables. Its stone towers are neo-Gothic with characteristic pointed arches. New York City Department of Transportation, NYCDOT, which maintains the bridge, says that its original paint scheme was Brooklyn Bridge tan and silver, but other accounts state that it was originally entirely Rawlins red. Interesting. Let's see what Rawlins red looks like. I suppose no one will ever know. Because there was only black and white pictures. Rawlins red. Oh, it's kind of like a rusty, sandy, desert-looking red. It's quite nice though. Yeah, this colour's a bit of me. I think I've got a jumper in this colour. It's almost like orangey. So where are we in the drawing? Oh, I've put the little plane in. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so in my drawings, I do like to include aircraft, as I just think it makes for a more interesting, it's just quite interesting and makes the drawing a bit more alive. But obviously it's kind of a weird area, a weird concept to include kind of a big carrier plane in the vicinity of New York for obvious reasons. But I wanted to include just a little glider plane here. I think that's fairly harmless to the situation. So, yeah, there is. And there's a few helicopters as well, I think just off screen, kind of down to the left, I've put in a New York helicopter, specifically one that does tours over New York. Where have I gone actually while I am drawing? What was I doing? Hopefully I come back. Hopefully it's not just completely frozen. Anyway, continue reading about the bridge. If you've made it this far, thank you. I do appreciate, people who stick through to the end, especially if you're actually watching and not just falling asleep. But if you have, then I hope you're having nice dreams. Let's find a bit that's kind of a little bit more interesting. 4 main cables. Sure, I counted only. Oh, there is 4, and I've only drawn the 3 in. Okay, so where I've drawn the big 3 cables going across, there should actually be 2 quite close to each other in the middle. I think so. Can you get up on the tower? I'm sure I remember on GTA, these towers, if you found your way to the top, there was like a jetpack on top of one of them, where I've drawn the little football pitch under my thumb out there. Yeah, there was like a jetpack or a rocket launcher or something like that. Sorry about that. I had a little interlude, but I'm back now. I can't remember what I was talking about. So I'm just going to start, I guess, reading another random point on the Wikipedia page for the Brooklyn Bridge. This is probably quite jarring, as about 10 seconds ago I was talking about something, and not anymore. There's a really, really nice picture on the Wikipedia page, Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper, and about the opening of the Brooklyn Bridge, April 28th, 1883. Very cool. Newspapers like that. It's a really good drawing. In fact, I might... Okay, this is what I'm going to be doing now. Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper. Okay. Let's Google that. Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper. Frank Leslie, renamed Leslie's Weekly, was an American illustrated literary and news magazine founded in 1855 and published until 1922. It was one of several magazines started by publisher and illustrator Frank Leslie. Throughout its existence, the weekly provided illustrations and reports with wood engravings, lithographs, and steel engravings based on sketches and photography, beginning with daguerreotypes and later with more advanced form of photography, of wars from John Brown's raid at Harper's Ferry in the Civil War to Spanish-American War and the First World War, and numerous other articles of topical interest. Daguerreotype, I remember. The first publicly available photographic process widely used during the 1840s and 50s. So it's like... there's a daguerreotype of Abraham Lincoln. So, daguerreotype, a polished sheet of silver-plated copper to a mirror finish, treated it with fumes that make its surface light-sensitive, exposed it in a camera for as long as was judged to be necessary. Okay. So, it's essentially a piece of highly polished silver-plated copper, treated it with fumes to make the surface light sensitive, and then exposed it. So, but it would take a while. Okay. Pretty cool. I'd heard that name before. I was going to say, Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper could be very cool to collect, but it says, surviving issues today are prized by collectors for their vividly depicting American life. That's written incorrectly, I think. For their vivid depiction of American life during the 7 decades of its existence, many distinguished writers were featured in its pages. Frank Leslie. Frank Leslie was the pen name of Henry Carter, the son of a well-to-do English glove maker. Carter had taken up the art of wood engraving over his father's objection and emigrated to New York City to make his own way in the world, arriving in 1848. 1848, sorry. Carter, who adopted the Frank Leslie name immediately upon his arrival, was unable to find a position as an illustrator with an established newspaper in the city and was forced to open his own business, a small engraving shop on Broadway. One of Leslie's first clients was promoter P.T. Barnum. I don't know that name, Barnum Circus or something, I don't know. Well, the artwork in it is pretty incredible, to be honest. A lot of them are kind of engravings and whatnot, but yeah, they're really cool. Definitely recommend having a look at these. Cathedrals. Oh wow. I wish there was still space for this in the world today. I'd love to do something like this. Just put art in a newspaper. Let's see if I'm going to see what they look like. Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper on Google Images. Oh, they all look amazing. What a find today. Didn't expect to be coming across something like this today. That's the best one of the Brooklyn Bridge. Sorry, clearing my throat there. God, the wobble in this video is really quite something. It's a bit of a shame, but we'll survive. Ah, I'm going to keep this up to look at later. This is really cool. Opening. Okay, the New York and Brooklyn Bridge was opened for use on May the 24th, 1883. Thousands of people attended the opening ceremony and many ships were present in the East River for the occasion. Officially, Emily Warren Roebling, who was the wife of the son of the guy who first made it, she was the first one to cross the bridge. The bridge opening was also attended by US President Chester A. Arthur, who has a great mustache, and New York Mayor Franklin Edson, who crossed the bridge and shook hands with Brooklyn Mayor Seth Low at the Brooklyn end. Abram Hewitt gave the principal address. It is not the work of any one man or any one age. It is the result of the study, of the experience, and of the knowledge of many men in many ages. It is not merely creation, it is a growth. It stands before us today as the sum and epitome of human knowledge, as the very air of the ages, as the latest glory of centuries of patient observation, profound study and accumulated skill, gained step by step in the never-ending struggle of man to subdue the forces of nature to his control and use. Thank you, Abram Hewitt. Can I have a drink of tea, excuse me? The bridge had cost $15.5 million in 1883 dollars, about $500 million in 2023 to build, of which Brooklyn paid 2/3. Who paid the other third then? The bonds to fund the construction would not be paid until 1956. Wow. 27 men died during its construction. Since the New York and Brooklyn Bridge was the only bridge to cross the East River at the time, it was also called the East River Bridge. Until the construction of the nearby Williamsburg Bridge in 1903, the New York Bridge and Brooklyn Bridge was the longest suspension bridge in the world, 20% longer than any built previously. So there's the Brooklyn Bridge, the Williamsburg Bridge, the Greensboro Bridge. Let's see. There was a list at the top. Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg Bridge, and Queensboro Bridge. I see. Trying to remember that. That will probably be a pub quiz question one day. Who knows? Let's get back to the opening. Here's Barnum again. So now he's come up again on a different Wikipedia page. On May the 17th, 1884, one of the circus master P.T. Barnum's most famous attractions, Jumbo the Elephant, led a parade of 21 elephants over the Brooklyn Bridge. This helped to lessen doubts about the bridge's stability whilst also promoting Barnum's circus. Jumbo's got his own Wikipedia page. Jumbo. He was born on Christmas Day, 1860, and he died on September the 15th, 1885. Also known as Jumbo the Elephant and Jumbo the Circus Elephant, was a 19th century male African bush elephant born in Sudan. This is quite sad really, should have just been left there. Jumbo was exported to Jardin des Plantes, a zoo in Paris, and then transferred in 1865 to London Zoo in England. Despite public interest, Jumbo was sold to P.T. Barnum, who took him to the United States for exhibition in March 1882. That's sad. The elephant's name spawned the common word jumbo, meaning large in size. Like Jumbo Jet, Jumbo Shrimp, and Jumbotron. That's funny. Jumbo's shoulder height is estimated to be 3.23 meters. Wow. Jumbo has been the mascot of Tufts University. Why is Jumbo so famous? His mother was killed by poachers. So, Jumbo. It was sold to Lorenzo Casanova, an Italian animal dealer and explorer. Casanova transported the animals that he had brought from Sudan north to Suez and then across the Mediterranean Sea to Trieste. This collection of the animals was blah 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 blah. He gave rides to children on his back, including Queen Victoria's children. While in London, Jumbo broke both tusks, and when they regrew, he ground them down against the stonework of his enclosure. That's probably because he was going mad, because he wasn't out on the plains in Sudan like he should have been. In 1882, superintendent of the London Zoo sparked national controversy with the decision to sell Jumbo to the American entertainer Barnum. The decision came as a result of concern surrounding Jumbo's growing aggression and potential to cause a public disaster. The sale of Jumbo, however, sent the citizens of London into a panic because they viewed the transaction as an enormous loss for the British Empire. Interesting. 100,000 school children wrote to Queen Victoria begging her not to sell the elephant. Wow. Everyone was devastated. He was famous. Oh, Jumbo's death. Oh, no way. Okay, Jumbo died. Sorry if this is making anybody sad. Jumbo. Hang on, where are we? Jumbo died at a railway classification yard in Ontario, Canada, on the 15th of September 1885. In those days, the circus crisscrossed North America by train. St. Thomas was the perfect location for a circus because many rail lines converged there. Jumbo and the other animals had finished their performances that night, and as they were being led to their boxcar, a train came down the track. Jumbo was hit and mortally wounded, dying within minutes. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. He got hit by a train. Barnum told the possibly fictional story that Tom Thumb, a young circus elephant, was walking on the railroad tracks and Jumbo was attempting to lead him to safety. Barnum claimed that the locomotive hit and killed Tom Thumb before it derailed and hit Jumbo, and other witnesses supported Barnum's account. Many metallic objects were found in the elephant's stomach, including English pennies, keys, rivets, and a police whistle. Oh, I can't believe he died like that. He had him stuffed. Barnum eventually donated the stuffed Jumbo to Tufts University, where it was displayed at P.T. Barnum Hall there for many years. The hide was destroyed in a fire in the 70s. Oh my god, the story gets wilder. Ashes from that fire, which are believed to contain the elephant's remains, are kept in a 14-ounce Peter Pan crunchy peanut butter jar in the office of the Tufts athletic director, while his taxidermied tail, removed during earlier renovations, resides in the holding of the Tufts digital collection of archives. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I see that the video is now ended, so I'm going to call it a day there. Sorry, I went on a real rabbit hole with Jumbo the elephant, but that was really interesting. What a wild life. And he only lived to be 25. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Learned a little bit about the Brooklyn Bridge and Jumbo. Maybe I'll do a video drawing Jumbo. Who knows? Anyway, I hope you have a pleasant night's sleep, or morning or evening, or wherever you are.